my darkened eyes, pierce my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, word after word. From him ecstatic reminiscence. From him the very scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. May your fame be spread all over three worlds. We take shelter at the lotus feet. Tita Pablo Shri Prabhupada ki Jai.
Devotees, we need some Vedanta prayers. We need to practice. You know? Mahatma, you play Vedanta?
No.
Why? Yeah, I heard this. My friend. What's his name?
From Vrindavan.
Yeah, I was surprised how many told me he's coming.
Yeah, he's originally from Mayapur. He was 3-4 years in Vrindavan.
Oh, then it's a different one. Now I know who you're talking about. Okay, yeah. Here's I will see.
Yes.
I can play with one.
That would be nice. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koro More Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koro More
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koro More Toma bina ke dayalo jagata sansare Toma bina ke dayalo jagata sansare. If you need the song, there's songbooks in the drawer there. It's page 40. Toma bina ke dayalo jagata sansare Toma bina ke dayalo jagata sansare Patita pavana hetu Tavayavatara Patita pavana hetu Tavayavatara Patita pavana hetu Tavayavatara Mosamapatita Prabhu Napaibeya Mosamapatita Prabhu Napaibeya Ha ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Ha ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Kripa bala kana koro ami bodo dukhi Kripa bala kana koro Ami bodo dukhi Daya koro sitapati Advaita Goshai Daya koro sitapati Advaita Goshai. Tava Kripa Bale Pai Chaitanya Nitai. 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 Haha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha. Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha. Bhatta Yoga Shri Jiva Prabhu Lokanatha. 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 Daya Koro Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas. Daya Koro Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas. Ramachandra Sangamage Narottama Das. Ramachandra Sangamage Narottama Das. Ramachandra Sangamage Narottama Das. Ramachandra Sangamage Narottama Das. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajapacharya Stuttara Shata Shishimad His Divine Grace Laisi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Can I have the book, or I take the? So today is the auspicious installation day of Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. They came to this temple 39 years ago. That was in 1984, 10 years after Gornitai was installed. Gornitai came here in 80, and so they were in Geneva first, and then 80 they came here, and then in 84, 4 years later, Jagannath appeared, making this new Jagannath Puri. Non-different from Jagannath Puri. Dwaraka, actually, where Krishna lived with Balaram and Subhadra. Today we are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter Madhya Lila, chapter 22, which is entitled The Process of Devotional Service, text 54, which is a popular verse. I'm sure most of you have heard that before, so we can recite together. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastre Koi. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastre Koi. Lava Matra Sadhu Sanghe Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Lava Matra Sadhu Sanghe Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastre Koi. Sadhu Sangha
sadhu sangha sarva shastra koi.
Lavamatra sadhu sange sarva siddhi hoy.
Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy.
Sadhu sangha sarva shastre koi.
Sadhu sangha sarva shastra koi.
Lavamatra sadhu sange sarva siddhi hoy.
Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy.
Sadhu sangha sarva shastra koi.
Sadhu sangha sarva shastra koi.
Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy.
Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy.
Sadhu sangha sarva shastra koi.
Sadhu sangha sarva shastra koi.
Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy.
Lavamatra
Sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. Matachis?
Sadhu sangha sarva shastra koi.
Sadhu sangha sarva shastre koi.
Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy.
Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. Sadhu sangha sarva shastre koi. Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy.
Sadhu sangha shastra koi.
Sadhu sangha sarva shastre koi.
Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy.
Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. A word for word translation. Sadhu sangha, sadhu sangha.
Sadhu sangha, sadhu sangha.
Association with pure devotees.
Association with pure devotees.
Sarva shastre.
Sarva shastra.
All the revealed scriptures.
All the revealed scriptures.
Kai.
I
Say.
say.
Lavamatra.
Lavamatra.
Even for a moment.
Even for a moment.
Sadhu sangha.
Sadhu sangha.
By association with a devotee.
By association with a devotee.
Sarva siddhi.
Sarva siddhi.
All success.
All success.
Haya.
Haya.
There is.
There is.
Translation. The verdict of all revealed scriptures is that by even a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. Purport. According to astronomical calculations, a lava is 1/11 of a second. We're going to read also the next verse, and because Prabhupada is referring to a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, this is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, we're also going to read the purport from Bhagavatam. I think you quoted that verse, Bhagavat Sanghi Sangasya, last week.
This week
On Tuesday. So I'm just going to read it. Tulayam lavenapi nasvargam na punarbhavam Bhagavat Sanghi Sangasya Martyanam kim utashishaha. Translation. The value of a moment's association with the devotee of the Lord cannot be compared even to the attainment of the heavenly planets or liberation from matter. And what to speak of worldly benedictions in the form of material prosperity, which is for those who are meant for death. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:8-13. This verse concerns the Vedic rites and sacrifices performed by the great sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shonaka Rishi. The sages pointed out that association with a devotee for even less than a second is beyond comparison to 1,000 Vedic rituals and sacrifices, elevation to heavenly planets, or merging into the existence of the Supreme. So we can read also the purport from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very nice. So this verse, as Prabhupada explains, is spoken by the sages in Naimisharanya to basically they are glorifying Sutta Goswami, who came while they were doing fire sacrifices. They were already black from the smoke emanating from the fire, and then Sutta Goswami came. They asked him to enlighten them, and so this verse was spoken. And the verse says that you cannot compare the association of a devotee with all these materialistic siddhis like sense gratification, karma, bhoga, mukti. You cannot compare, and the word here is tulayam. Those who study Jyotish, they know what is tula. The scale, yeah. So it's nice. You cannot put them on the same. So it will be heavier. Sadhu Sangha is heavier. You cannot put on the same tula. Okay, so the purport in Srimad Bhagavatam. When there are some similar points, it is possible to compare one thing to another. One cannot compare the association of a pure devotee to anything material. So, like we said, you cannot put them on the scale. It's impossible. Men who are addicted to material happiness aspire to reach the heavenly planets like the moon, Venus, and Indraloka. And those who are advanced in material philosophical speculations aspire after liberation from all material bondage. When one becomes frustrated with all kinds of material advancement, one desires the opposite type of liberation, which is called apunarbhava, or no rebirth. But the pure devotees of the Lord do not aspire after the happiness obtained in the heavenly kingdom, nor do they aspire after liberation from material bondage. In other words, for the pure devotees of the Lord, the material pleasures obtainable in the heavenly planets are like phantasmagoria, and because they are already liberated from all material conceptions of pleasure and distress, they are factually liberated even in the material world. This means that the pure devotees of the Lord are engaged in a transcendental existence, namely in the loving service of the Lord, both in the material world and in the spiritual world. As a government servant is always the same, either in the office or at home or at any place, so a devotee has nothing to do with anything material, for he is exclusively engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. Since he has nothing to do with anything material, what pleasure can he derive from material benedictions like kingship or other overlordships, which are finished quickly with the end of the body? Devotional service is eternal. It has no end because it is spiritual. Therefore, since the assets of a pure devotee are completely different from material assets, there is no comparison between the two. Sutta Goswami was a pure devotee of the Lord, and therefore his association with the rishis in Naimisharanya is unique. In the material world, association with gross materialists is veritably condemned. The materialist is called Yoshit Sangi, or one who is much attached to material entanglement, women and other paraphernalia. Such attachment is conditioned because it drives away the benedictions of life and prosperity. And just the opposite is Bhagavat Sangi, or one who is always in the association with the Lord's name, form, qualities, etc. Such association is always desirable. it is worshipable, it is praiseworthy, and one may accept it as the highest goal of life. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militang Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitang Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschetta Desha Tarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this very important verse, we have heard it many times, speaking about sadhu sangha, and we know when something is mentioned 3 times, it is very a weighty statement. It's a lot of emphasis. So it said 3 times, sadhu sangha, sarva shastre koi, lava matra sadhu sanghe sarva siddhi hoy. That by this sadhu sangha one can attain all siddhi, all perfection. And Prabhupada, this is important, he explains actually in the word-for-word translation what a sadhu is. Because if we hear that sadhu sangha is so important, and sangha is very clear what it is means to associate with somebody or something, and sadhu, then we have to understand what is sadhu. And sometimes when you maybe speak to some, also in India, then a sadhu, what is a sadhu? Then they will say a sadhu is the one who wears yellow robes and has a beard and walks. He's a lonely man, he's a sadhu. But this is not, can be, but the real qualification of a sadhu is a pure devotee. And it is actually explained in this verse from Bhagavatam why the pure devotee is the sadhu, the Vaishnav, by this term, Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya, he who is in the association of Bhagavan. And Prabhupada says how? By associating with his name, form, qualities, etc. So that person, that pure devotee, we know, he's always in the association of Krishna, and Krishna is always with him. We're gonna actually look at one song regarding glorifying Vaishnav, and so that is the qualification, that he has to be always in the association of Krishna, and then he's a real sadhu, and then he can give you this benefit of attaining the siddhi, the perfection. And also in this verse it is spoken about materialistic kinds of siddhis, like going to the heavenly planets or attaining liberation. These are siddhis. But these are not the highest siddhis. The highest siddhi is Krishna Prema, having love for God, and in this way always being absorbed in Krishna consciousness. And so this Vaishnav is a sadhu. no one else. And sadhu is connected also with the word sat, that which is eternal. Prabhupada also speaks about this. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, he explains in the very beginning the difference between sat and asat. And nowadays you might see some people, they call themselves Satguru, Sadhu, but actually what they give knowledge about asat. They often speak about the body, the mind, the intelligence, and all these things. So they are not sat, they are not sadhu. They're actually still dealing with the asat energy of the Lord. So the Vaishnav, he is situated on this eternal spiritual platform of Krishna consciousness, and that's why he's sat and he's a sadhu. And there is a beautiful song by Narottam Das Thakur glorifying the Vaishnav. And we can go through that song together. In order to appreciate more the sadhu, the Vaishnav. Here. It's called Vaishnave Vigyapti. I'll sing it and then we can go through it. Ebaro karuna koro Vaishnava Gosai Patita Pavana Toma Bine Kehona Jaharani Kate Kele Papa Dure Jai Emana Dayala Prabhu Keva Kotapai Gangara Parashale Pashate Pava Darshane Pavitra Koro Etomara Gun Haristane Aparadhe Tare Harina Tomastane Aparadhe Nahi Paritra Tomarari Doye Sada Govinda Vishram Govinda Kohena Mora Vaishnava Para Pratijanme Kori Asha Chara Neradhuli Narotame Koro Daya Panaraboli. So Narottam Das Thakur is glorifying the Vaishnav by saying that he is the one who can purify the fallen soul, he can purify me. And he's even more merciful than the Ganga. And why? Because the Ganga, in order to get purified, you have to enter the water, and then the water of the Ganga will purify by touching your body. But not the Vaishnav. How does the Vaishnav purify? By darshan. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Shishi Gornitai Ki Jai. By darshan, by being in the presence, simply being in the presence of the pure devotee. And that's how he purifies. That's Eitomara Gun, that's your quality, Vaishnav Thakur. And he goes, he even says that by coming close to you, the pap will run away, the sin will run away, because he's so pure. The Vaishnava is so pure because he carries Krishna himself, who is the purification personified, that sin will automatically run away. And in the 5th verse, he's saying, Tomara Hridaye Sada Govinda Vishram, that, O Vaishnav Thakur, you are always carrying the Lord in your heart. Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya. How does he have Sangha with Bhagavan? In his heart. By chanting constantly, by thinking about the form, by meditating about the pastime. Constantly, 24 hours, the Vaishnav is connected with Krishna. And then what happens? Govinda Kahena Mora Vaishnava Paran. And Govinda says, this Vaishnav, he's my life. So this is the beautiful reciprocative relationship between the pure devotee and Krishna. That because the devotee has so much love for Krishna, he captures the mind of Krishna, and Krishna always thinks of the devotee. In Mahabharata it is described that when the Pandavas, they were living in Hastinapur and then later in Indraprastha, they were constantly thinking about Krishna. I was reading yesterday how Arjuna, he was sent on, not sent, he actually wanted to go on pilgrimage. Who knows the story, Arjuna going on pilgrimage? The 5 Pandavas, they married Draupadi, and which is a very unusual thing, that a woman gets married to 5 different men. Maybe a man has 5 women, but usually it's not the opposite. But it was all according to the Lord's plan. And when they got married, afterwards Narada Muni came and he told them that you have to make some. He told a story about some sage, about some demigods who they actually got in a huge fight because of a woman. So Narada Muni instructed them that you have to make a rule in order to prevent your brothers to become envious of each other. And the rule was that every of the Pandava had a lot of time to spend with Draupadi, and during that time, when one of the Pandavas was associating with Draupadi and somebody else would come in and see, he would have to go to exile for 1 year. That was the agreement. And what happened, it was Yudhishthira's turn. He was associating with Draupadi, and they were in a room. And at that time, a Brahmin arrived at the palace yelling, "Alas, alas, what happened? Somebody is stealing all my wealth. Yudhishthira, you are Dharmaraj. Why are you not protecting me? You should protect me. This is very inauspicious, somebody stealing the wealth of a Brahmin." And he was busy with Draupadi. So Arjuna heard, and he went to the Brahmin, he pacified him, and he said, "No problem, I'll take care." And he had to go get his weapon, and it happened so that the room Yudhishthira was staying in with Draupadi was the weaponry room. Same room. So he knew that if I go in now, I break the vow we took. And you know, the whole Mahabharata is like this dharma, like, what should I do now? And it's really nice. But we know Arjuna, he's very dharmic. So he said, okay, I will break the lower dharma, I will go to the exile, but I will perform my duty as a kshatriya to protect. So he went inside, and Yudhishthira was smiling at him when he came. He was thinking, oh, Arjuna is Arjuna is coming, he knows our vow, so he must have a good reason to come. So then he grabbed the weapons, he went out, he actually fighted against these rogues, and he gave back the well to the Brahmin. And then when he came back, he went to the palace, and everybody was glorifying Arjuna, that, wow, Arjuna, you're so dharmic and you're so powerful, you protected this Brahmin, glorifying him. And then Arjuna said, yes, but I broke my vow, now I have to go to the exile. And Yudhishthir, he said, no, you didn't break. You didn't break. This was an emergency, and anyway, when the elder brother is with his wife, for the younger brother to come, it's not a problem actually, according to the Shastra, in the injunctions. But Arjuna said, no, I have to follow my word. I took a vow and I have to go. And Yudhishthira started to cry. He said, how can I be separated with you for even a moment? But Arjuna was very determined, and so eventually he left. And so he went on pilgrimage for 1 year, and constantly while he was traveling, he was meditating about, oh, I'm going to make the route now. He went from Indraprastha up to the Himalayas, and then he went to the west coast, and he came down, and he came up again. And he was constantly meditating, oh, in the end I will visit Krishna. I will constantly was thinking, oh, I will visit Krishna in Dwaraka. And when he arrives there, it is also described in Mahabharata that Krishna heard about Arjuna leaving, and he was also anticipating for the whole year. He was thinking most probably he will come in the end. Before he goes back, he will visit Dwaraka. So that is the beautiful relationship between Krishna and his devotee, that they always think of each other and they miss each other's association. And that's why Narottam Das Thakur is also saying, Haristane aparade tare harinam, Tomastane aparade nahi paritran. That you can commit an offense against Krishna, and by chanting the holy name, you will be purified. However, if you offend the Vaishnav, nothing can purify you. And this can be, I was meditating, it can be explained in a very logical way how Krishna is the devotee is constantly Bhagavat Sangasya. Within himself he's associating with Krishna, serving Krishna with whatever he does. And then if somebody comes, and Krishna he's receiving that. He's receiving that arada, that worship. So if somebody comes and disturbs that devotee in his worship, arada, then it is aparad. It is breaking that. And Krishna doesn't like, because it's breaking somehow, it's not really breaking the connection, but it is disturbing a little bit the connection. And so Krishna doesn't like, and whenever this happens, the devotee will get the reaction. And the reaction is that Radha, Arada, Aparad, that Srimati Radharani, she is the one who empowers the devotee to worship the Lord, because she's the personification of bhakti. So when somebody offends this internal potency, offends the worship of the Lord, then Srimati Radharani, she will withdraw her mercy, and somebody will lose taste, not able to think of Krishna anymore, and again comes under the control of the external energy and becomes overwhelmed with all the materialistic dhanarthas. So that what happens. So sadhu sangha, sarva shastri koi, avamatra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoi. It's a huge opportunity to come in contact with sadhu. One can achieve all perfection, but it is also a great risk at the same time. And I will share now something personal with you. So the pure devotee, he is very powerful and merciful, and when we associate with him or with her, then we get so much benefit. But if we associate closely, we can also commit offenses, and it can happen because we are conditioned. We take our material mindset and we try to look at the devotee with our material understanding, and so we measure, why is he doing like this? This is strange, this is not good. So when I was with Guru Maharaj, I also at one point, because so many things, it was very strange things happened for my materialistic mind. So I became really disturbed in mind. I couldn't understand. I just couldn't understand. And doubts came, and of course it happened, and somehow I didn't know what to do. And then Guru Maharaj noticed, and he called me, and he asked, so what's going on? So I was telling what was disturbing me. And so Vaishnava is very, very merciful, tries to encourage. So I was sorry. So I was asking, so what should one do when one is disturbed? And he gave a he gave a very nice instruction. He said, if you feel disturbed, you take some distance. So, because when we associate with the devotee, and we start to think in this way, initially it's in the mind, but then, and we know in I don't know if it's also if it applies also for Vaishnava Aparad, if we just keep it in the mind, it's not really a problem, but if we start to act on it, then it's a problem. So that was a very good instruction, that when some disturbance come up in the mind, we should take distance, and we should, Prabhupada once said, if you are disturbed, you sit down and you chant Hare Krishna, and you wait till the storm is over. So that's a small point, but I think it's very instructive that we can because it happens to all of us. We are disturbed sometimes. And it's natural, it's our mind, so we have to cool the mind down, we have to purify the mind, and then we can see it properly again. And then when we become more and more advanced, and this is another story I would like to share, because the advanced devotee, he's always enthusiastic for sadhu sangha. And he doesn't see the faults anymore. He just sees, he's like a bee, he just takes the nectar. So one time, this story with Satchidananda Swami, we arrived in New Jersey, and while I was at the passport control, I saw Gaur Krishna standing there, the servant of Satchidananda Swami. So I was like, wow, what's happening? And then I just saw Satchidananda Maharaj passing by, but they were in a hurry, so I ran after them, and I told Bhakti Charmach is here, and Satchidananda Maharaj was just using the bathroom. And so I told Gaur Krishna, I think it will be really nice to have Satchidananda Maharaj meet Bhakti Charmach. It will be, they are good friends from old times. So then Satchidananda Maharaj came out, and you know Satchidananda Maharaj, how he saw a devotee. It's like, oh, Haribol! And he started he just started, you know. And I was, because we had very short time, so I was a little bit in the service of my Guru Maharaj also, I was a little bit rude. I said, sorry Maharaj, we don't have time to talk. His Holiness Bhakti Charmach is there at the other gate. I think he would be really happy to see you. So I thought I asked him to come. And Satchidananda Maharaj, he got, wow. And so, yeah, let's go, where is it? So we walked, and then Satchidananda Maharaj immediately started, you know, have you ever heard of that story? Now I feel like this tortoise. Like the tortoise is swimming in the ocean, and you know it has to come up with the head to take a breath. And once in a while, it so happens, very randomly, that the tortoise head will come out exactly when there is a wood with a hole inside. And just accidentally, the tortoise head will go through that hole. So rare is sadhu sangha, and that's how I feel today. And then we ran because we had so. And I was reflecting today when I was thinking what to say about that, how Satchidananda Maharaj is such an exalted Vaishnava, but he's just appreciating sadhu sangha and running for it. So that's what we should develop. That's what we should develop, and then our life is perfect, because if one has that taste for sadhu sangha, then all perfection is guaranteed. So, yes, sadhu sangha, it's actually not only a big opportunity, it's almost the only way how we can reach perfection. And it's also risky, because we are associating directly with the internal potency. So we have to be careful. And from my personal experience, I was sharing how I got instructed from my Guru Maharaj that if we feel some disturbance, sometimes it's good to take a step back and calm down, and then we can see things clearly, and then we can go again into the association. And maybe we have to do that sometime, go out, come in. But then at one point we will be like Satchidananda Maharaj, just running after sadhu sangha our whole life and attaining perfection.